So, I wanted to do a little story time. I've never actually really done that, but I recently just went through something that is pretty crazy. I can feel what's happening in my mouth. Maybe you guys can't tell, but I feel a little bit swollen still, so any guesses? I got my wisdom teeth out and it was literally probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But I do know something. I'm very self-aware about one particular thing. If you go into any situation assuming it's going to be terrible, you can totally manifest that experience, and I did. So I went in really, really high anxiety. I just had a bad attitude about it. I just knew it was going to be terrible and I was not looking forward to it. But a little side note, so not only was I just getting wisdom teeth out, it was for a clinical trial. Now I know what you're thinking. People all think that I'm crazy for doing this, but I actually don't have dental insurance, so I was kind of putting it off because it's really expensive to get, but also I was afraid. And I randomly got an email from this company called Lotus Clinical Research, and they were looking for participants to perform the wisdom teeth surgery, and they had to be impacted, which mine were severely impacted. I'll show you guys a photo of how impacted. So yes, they were terrible. And so anyways, they were looking for participants, and you not only got to save money because you didn't have to pay to get them done, but they paid us a couple $1,000s to get it done. So with that trial meant that they were trying this new drug or it's not new, sorry. They weren't trying a new drug. They were experimenting on a drug that is FDA approved, ding, and it's been used in millions of surgeries, ding, check. It was nothing crazy where they hadn't tested it out before, but it's a painkiller, but it's an injectable painkiller, so they injected it into the sites after they did it. So yeah, the whole trial, the catch was that you had to stay at the hospital for 4 nights after getting your wisdom teeth out, but you got full, service. Like, I would just call and order whatever I wanted. Obviously I couldn't eat much, but I had a nurse waiting on me hand and foot. If I needed ice or more water or whatever, they would come and check up on me, and they also would take blood draws just to do their research. So again, call me crazy. I signed up because I was like, well, it's right around the holidays. I could use another couple $1,000s, and also I need my wisdom teeth done anyway, so I might as well get paid and be waited on hand and foot and checked up on by doctors. So anyways, that's the whole thing. But basically, the story of the surgery is probably the worst thing ever. So those of you that have gotten your wisdom teeth out, then you can kind of remember how terrible it was. Well, I don't know if yours were impacted, but he went ahead. Okay, first thing I have to say about this doctor is, I'm not obviously naming any names, but he was already making weird comments to me when I went in for the test. I don't want to be, I won't go too far into detail, but just kind of chauvinistic type comments. I said I was married, and he was like, oh, well, that was your first mistake. Just weird stuff like that. So I kind of already had a weird bad taste in my mouth because of him. And anyway, so then I went in for the surgery day, and I am not kidding you guys, from the time that I sat in the chair to him just grabbing the Novocaine shots, it was 20 seconds. And he didn't prep me for anything. He just sat, I sat in the chair, and then he just started putting the things in the open your mouth, and then started shooting me up with Novocaine. I was just so overwhelmed because I already had anxiety, like I said, that I immediately just started getting really woozy, and I started seeing stars, and I was getting really hot, and I started throwing up all over the place. True story. I literally was uh-oh, and so I went like this, and I was I need a trash can. Didn't have one, so I proceeded to throw up in their little side sink that didn't have holes big enough to drain. So that was not a really pretty sight at all. So I kept saying, I'm so sorry, but my mouth was fully numb, and the back of my throat was numb. It was the worst thing ever. I can't even tell you. They have these new painkiller things too. It wasn't just the shot ones. He did shot, and then he had these little things that felt like a thumbtack with 4 prongs, and he put them in the roof of my mouth. I won't go into much more detail. It was the worst thing I've ever experienced. And they like push it up into your gum, like into the roof of your mouth, and you can hear it like breaking through the skin. I don't want to really relive this memory, but needless to say, that's why I got so nervous and started getting nauseous and stuff. And then this doctor, instead of being sympathetic, was just like, oh, Jesus. Like, basically because I was throwing up and it obviously smelled like throw up in the room. I had an egg sandwich for breakfast that day. So it was really bad. It was really, really, really bad. And I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I honestly, the whole trial was volunteer-based, of course, so as long as you go through it, you keep getting paid. But the second that you leave, of course, they stop paying up until that point. So I was just telling myself, you know, you got to keep doing it. You've got to get your wisdom teeth out anyway, Lynette. Just stick it out. Be a trooper. So this is how I had to get through that moment. I literally sat back. I put my little earbuds in. I don't remember even what station it was. It was something like low-key on Spotify. And then I just started meditating and started taking big, deep breaths. And I was like, and then I just started praying over and over and over again because I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. And sure enough, then my heart rate started going down. And then he was like, Lynette, we really got to keep moving or else it's going to start, like the Novocaine's going to start wearing off. Okay. I'm still thinking, okay, where's the laughing gas, or are you putting me under? I didn't know that that's all they were doing. So I'm kind of like, you guys are putting me under, right? Or something. And they were like, no, we can't, because part of the trial, we can't do that. We just can do local anesthetic. Or local...
Anesthesia?
Anesthesia. I'm like, wait. Okay, let's see what happened next. So then he says, okay, do you think you can do it? And I said, yes, I'm a trooper. I've had tattoos. I can do this. And so I lie back again, and he starts with the first one up here, because they had to do all four at once, and all four were impacted. So starts with this one, it wasn't that bad, then goes to this one. It wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't super easy for him, and he's a bigger guy, and he was using all of his weight. Finally got this one out. Went to this one, and you can still tell where I'm a little swollen here. This side is a lot better. It looks fairly normal, still a little swelling, and it feels like a knot under my skin, on both sides, but this one's so much worse. So he goes to my lower left mandible, and he starts, it was completely, as you guys saw from my x-ray, it was completely, like my teeth are all lined up like this. It was like punching the rest of my teeth sideways, like horizontally. So he cuts in and starts pulling away. Was not budging, apparently. He's sawing. I don't know what they're sawing. What are you sawing? I just hear like, ee! And I'm like, oh my gosh. So he's pulling, nothing, and my head is just all kinked, and he's pulling. He starts pulling harder, and all of a sudden, like an electric shock goes from my lip here all the way down to my neck. And I started shaking, and I like pushed them away. And he goes, oh my gosh, did we hit a nerve or something? I don't know. You tell me. You're the doctor. So I'm like, mm-hmm. And so then he's like, okay, let's try again. So he starts pulling again, and it does it again. So another like shock through my lip or whatever, and I'm like shaking, and I like push them out again. He has like tools, and I pushed him, and the girl, she's got the little sucker, 'cause she's sucking all the blood out of my mouth. And of course I'm numb, so I can't really feel much other than like a shock, but anyway, it didn't like hurt, like it was just like you got electrocuted is what I felt like. And so still wasn't out, so then it moves on to this one. This one, again, comparatively speaking, wasn't bad. This one came out fairly easily, and I thought that they were all out. No, he goes back because this wasn't out yet. Oh my gosh, so then he literally, it feels like all of his weight, and I was like, my jaw's gonna break. My jaw is broken, it's over, I'm done. And anyways, long story short, it finally did come out, and then he like sews everything up, and he's like, okay, and honestly from beginning to end, it probably was only 20-30 minutes, but it felt like, of course, an eternity, and I was sweating bullets, and it was just probably the worst experience. But guys, this is actually, it's exactly from today, it's a week that this surgery happened, and I'm still numb, and that's not a good sign. I mean, like, every one of the other participants, they're not numb anymore, but my lip from here down to like my chin is still numb. And I just had a follow-up appointment today, and the doctor said that that's very common, and that if, you know, there's the nerve got bruised, then it's typical, but I don't know. I want to hear from you guys. Have you guys gotten your wisdom teeth out, and did you stay numb for a while? Actually, my friend Diana said she got her wisdom teeth out and she's still numb a little bit, and that's 4 years later. So I don't know, but I'm freaking out a little bit. It's not quite impeding with my speech. I don't know, maybe it is. You tell me. I don't know. There's so many things. It's like freaking me out. And but yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys. So here's a little montage of some of the photos through the healing process. Right afterwards, I was so swollen. I barely even had a chin. And then, you know, gradually it did get better. But now, let's see, I am day 7. Today is day 7, exactly a week later. So still a little swollen, but getting much better. So maybe you just got your wisdom teeth out and now you found this video and you're watching me, but I don't know, it's like a scary surgery. People make it seem like it's not that big of a deal, but for me, it was really awful. But I also, at the same time, realized 2 things from this experience. One, okay, you can go into something and you can manifest the outcome. So I think I manifested a terrible outcome because I went into it thinking it was going to be terrible, and it was. So if I went in there with a great attitude and was like, this is going to be awesome, then maybe the outcome would have been better. I don't know. And the second thing that I realized was that, you know, I was getting all the tests from the clinical trial, EKG, and I had leads all over my body, and blood draws, and now it looks like I'm a heroin addict. Look at this. Ugh. All of those things were phobias of mine. And I faced my fear and I went through all that. But as I was kind of going through that, I was recognizing how I take my health for granted because I've never been in the hospital before. I've been to visit other people that were either having babies or they were ill, but I've never stayed in the hospital by myself at all, ever. And so I was really grateful. So I honestly started thinking, you know what, God, thank you so much for my health. This is the first experience, and it's a wisdom tooth surgery, which is so common. Everybody has to go through that typically. And if you're one of those lucky ones that didn't,
the big mouths.
Yeah, like, with all the space in your mouth, you're lucky. But no, it just really made me feel grateful that I do have health that is typically in good order and all that I don't have to visit that. I've been to ICU a few times, but you guys saw like my emergency room video maybe. You guys can, I'll link that below. It was an interesting experience, and I feel like I was a trooper for sure, and I'm still under recovery, still a little swollen, but I don't know. I just wanted to do a little story time with you guys and see how your experience was. I'm still eating soup and like little, you know, things that I can swallow almost whole because I'm like so afraid to eat anything like chips or something sharp because I don't want to mess with anything. But anyways, tell me your experience or what you guys think about all that craziness. I love you, and I will see you guys soon.